Hey guys, it's Allegra with Moon, Water, and Lightning Studios, and today I'm going to do a Cricut off the mat project. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so when you hear the term off the mat, it means cutting an image that is larger than your mat size for your cutting machine. You can use a Cricut or a Silhouette. I have a Cricut, so that's what I'm going to keep referring to, but it's not Cricut exclusive. So one thing you need is an SVG that has a back background. So it will be an outline of the entire image, and then you have the layers, the color layers placed over it. And I will show you what this looks like on Design Space and how I cut up the image in a little bit. But basically you will cut up the image into pieces small enough to cut on your 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 mat. And then you will put them all back together. I like to use just a glue stick to put the colored pieces on top of the black. I do also use double-sided tape in some instances, like if it's a big space. And I will use regular tape to tape the black background together. And then you will have a larger image. I've made trolls for my daughter's room. I've made Toy Story characters, and I'll show you those as well. The duck and bunny that I did ended up 3.5 feet wide. That one was a little off. I wasn't trying to get it that big, but it did, and they love it, so it's fine. The Woody, I think, is about 36 inches tall. I tried to scale them like the characters actually are in comparison to each other, but either way, you can make the image as big as you want. There is no limit as long as you have the cardstock to do it with. And so you will also need cardstock. If you go ahead and plan, you can get 12 by 12 pieces of cardstock, and then your pieces can be a little bit bigger when you cut them, and you'll end up cutting less pieces. I have tons of 8.5 by 11, so my pieces tend to be a little smaller, but that's fine. So we'll jump into the Design Space section, and I'll show you how to break up the image and then cut. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you a few examples of some off the mat characters that I've made for my children, and this is Duck and Bunny from Toy Story, and this one actually is pretty big. I don't know if you can tell. And then we've got Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Come over here. Forky and Bo, Jesse, and then I have some trolls. Of course, all of this was cardstock, and there's another little guy, and then Branch. Cardstock and cutting, and then putting it together like a puzzle. And this is in my son's room. So we've got the dinosaur, and then over here is Woody and Slinky Dog. So, you know, you don't have to stick to small. You can do any shape you want, any size you want, because Woody is about 36 inches from top to bottom. Okay guys, so let's just jump right in. This is the image that we're going to be using. So let's customize. All right, so if you do not have young children or have not been blessed with the wonder that is Big Hero 6, it's one of the better movies that my children like to watch. I don't mind watching it. So anyway, this is Baymax from Big Hero 6. Both of my kids love Baymax. He's a lovable character. So we are going to make a Baymax head. Now, I said earlier that what you need to be able to do off the mat is have a black background. This is what I was talking about. So you have the entire outline of the image, and then you have the layers on top of it. So here are Baymax's eyes, and here is the rest of his head. What we are going to do is first decide how large we want this image to be, how large we want the finished product to be. And I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's do a 20-inch Baymax and let it auto adjust. All right, so now that we have our Baymax, you see this little arrow right here? Your image is too large. You need to stay within these measurements to be able to cut. But we're going to fool the Cricut. So first things first, let's hide these two layers. And we're going to start cutting up our back layer, our background layer. Now, I did an overview of the Cricut software and mentioned slicing and how I like to use shapes for slicing. This is why. So I will get a square, and let's make our square 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to change it to a bright color just so it stands out. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this a bunch of times so I don't have to continually make squares, because you will do this over and over again. All right, so we're going to start with placing our square somewhere on Baymax. We're going to select both the first square we're using and our back image and slice. So now you have this piece right here, which we can get rid of. You have your yellow piece, which was the other side of the slice result. And now you have your first piece. And this piece is going to be small enough to cut. So we are going to move this guy down. This is just the way I like to do it. It's not necessary. All right, so now let's start here. And we're going to slice again. So basically you are breaking these pieces up. We're going to move our little black piece down here. Actually, you see, let me show you something before we redo it. I like to try to avoid these. You see this little black line? I don't like that. So let's undo this. Just keep undoing. And then bring this down. I rather have a little bit of a lip right here than a tiny little offshoot, because that's just no bueno. All right, now we're going to move this there. That's a much better piece. This kind of thing just comes from experience. It's the only reason, like I said, I've made a lot of these things, and that's the only reason I can tell you that you don't want a tiny little piece of 2-inch paper hanging off, because it will get torn and you will lose it and then you will be mad. So we're going to delete, and then let's move over here and do the same thing Actually, let's go here. Now the first one of these I made, I cut it into way too many unnecessary pieces. I had so many pieces. It was Princess Poppy from Trolls, again, for my daughter, and it ended up looking fine. I was just angry with myself by the time I was done. So keep that in mind. You have to live with yourself. And then we're gonna slice once again. Now this file I actually got off of Etsy, I believe. I've had it long enough that I'm not 100% sure. I just know that I didn't make it. No, I don't want to color sync. Okay, now let's see what the measurements are here. I'm going to duplicate these a little bit. Let me move this to the back so I can see what's okay. So I know that these two pieces that we have left look like two separate pieces, but they are not going to cut like that because they are still attached. So we still need to go through the process of slicing them, which is what we're going to do now. Yes, this piece will actually cut since it is almost 10 inches long, and that's all we want. All right, and what is this? 6 point, okay. See, these are good. All right, so we ended up with 6 pieces, which is not bad for the black. All right, so now that we've done our background piece, let's go ahead and let's ungroup. So we're going to do our eyes. I like to bring it over away from the other pieces. That actually has no bearing whatsoever. And we're going to duplicate this. But anyway, so select this and this, slice. We now have 2 pieces for the eye area. And we can delete this and this. And now we have our Baymax. So you're going to have a lot of these little pieces. We're just going to, because we have to slice them all, we're just going to act like they're all attached, even though when it is actually time to cut, these guys are going to be 5 separate pieces. So we're going to mainly focus on the center. Send to the back so we can see. And I want to try to isolate. Where's my back piece? Here it is. I want to try and isolate. All right. These ears. So let's turn it like so, because we don't want to trim any of this guy. And then I'm going to unlock this and adjust the height to 10. And I'm going to have to adjust it a little taller. Let's go with 14. We are almost there. Okay, so we're going to take this yellow piece and our red and slice. And now we have this. You see it ended up only being 9 inches tall, but again, these will be smaller pieces when it's all said and done. We can get rid of these, we don't need them. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, only I'm going to go ahead and adjust the height to 10. And then okay, good, good, good. Slice, and we have that taken out of here. Okay, so now all we have left is the main part of the face. Get a couple more of these, send it to the back. So I just find it easier to see the back pieces. Like if it's in the back, it's just a preference. You can send it to the front if you'd like. All right, let's get rid of these guys, and we have this. And again, I just like to place while I'm slicing so I can see what it's looking like. All right, select both pieces, slice. I'm going to pull this guy down. And when it is time to actually cut, you will end up having two pieces wherever you see it with two pieces. But that shouldn't be a problem for putting it together. All right, so again, send to the back. And no, we don't, we want, let me find the pieces that I'm trying, there we go. You've got to make sure you have the right pieces selected or you'll end up slicing the wrong thing. Okay. Now we got this, and I think we can do this in one more slice. So, yay. All right, delete this, delete this. And here you go. So we have now sliced our image and are ready to cut. Remember, you do not have to mirror this during the, let's go ahead and save this. During the making process, you do not have to mirror. Also, I will spend a good chunk of time rearranging things on a mat so I can use one paper, because Cricut is great about a lot of things, but I am not crazy about how they rearrange my pieces on my sheet. And I am going to be using an 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to go ahead and change it so I know what space I'm working with. And you want to stay within this red line, so I'm going to move this guy again back here, because really, if you can save paper, why not do it? And there you go. So I'm going to go through and do that with all of these before I cut. It's just something I like to do. Sometimes you can only do so much rearranging with these larger pieces, but that is going to be our next step, and then we're going to actually cut these out and put them together. Okay guys, so here's our finished product. I'm pretty happy with this. So if you found this at all helpful, or if you have questions, please drop a comment below. Give my video a like. You can also subscribe, and you will be notified when we have more videos coming out. But yeah, happy crafting.